Hello and welcome. This is going to be my second video today, recording builds for The Sims 4. Today I bring you what I believe I titled Modern Midsize. I wanted to do, in my last video I did a traditional build. This time around I wanted to do something modern, which is not my strong suit or anything, but I do enjoy building modern builds, and I know a lot of other people really like modern builds, so I wanted to do that. And when I build, let me just put this out there. When I build, usually I experiment a lot. The last video, my very first video, I had some idea, I had a really strong idea of exactly what I wanted to build. This time around, not so much. So you'll see a lot of drawing, deleting, resizing, just experimenting in general with like what looks good, what should go where. I only had like very, very basic idea this time around. Really the only thing that I knew that I wanted to do was the sort of gravel pathway in front with the I don't know what the name of the plant is, but it looks like an aloe plant. That was the only thing I knew for sure that I wanted to do, and I knew that I wanted to put the main floor on top. Usually you'll have your living room, dining room, all that on the main floor, and then of course, bedrooms and stuff on the top floor. This time I really wanted an upper floor main living space, so that's why I do put the entrance on the top here, which is what I'm building right now, is the entrance way to the house. Dipping it back in a little bit so that way there's plenty of room for the sim to enter. Like I said, this house definitely goes through a lot of different variations, and I'm just jumping in, working out exactly how I want it to go on the inside. The reason I did this a little bit more early on, before I'd exactly come up with what I wanted to do on the outside, was, I wanted to make sure that it was functional. And then, because sometimes I'll build a whole big something that looks great on the outside, and then it'll wind up not being functional at all on the inside, or just all the rooms will be really wonky, hard to navigate or just get around. So that's why I kind of hop inside and out this time around. These little like side fins, I don't know what I would call them. Those don't stay, those go away. And I'm just kind of working out where I want the windows to go. When I do find that if I'm building and a certain portion of the build, like it's not really obvious where the windows should go, which, like I've said before, it's always a struggle for me anyway to figure out where the windows are going to go on a build. But if it's just like really you're looking at the side and you're like, I don't know where to put the windows, then probably something else needs to be built or added on the side. And that's why I kind of put that column there on the side toward the front, so that it would help break up the side and make it more obvious where the windows needed to go. So I'm adding trim here, and yeah, now the fins are going away, and I wanted just to add lots of detail and not make the build too symmetrical. That's something that a lot of the better builders will tell you. Don't just copy everything on one side of the house that you do on the other side of the house, which that is something that's really difficult for me to avoid, not making the build too symmetrical. That's what I naturally want to do. So that's something that I had to work on, or I've always had to work on, not doing when I build, is not to make the build too symmetrical, especially when it's a house. Now, when it's like a a business type lot, that's a different story. But this is where I'm trying to add exterior lighting, which I've now realized don't bother doing that until you've actually gone in and done the interior and lit it up, because it's just going to be like super dark and you're going to add like probably too many exterior lights than what you really need. So I'm adding or picking the colors out now. I tend to choose neutrals, just so it'll be more appealing to more folks. Not that I don't build things that are more like niche sometimes. Just that I don't know, it's just a little bit, because you can always repaint, to your taste. And that's like something that would be easy to do if you're downloading the house from the gallery and you're just like, yeah, like the super beige house isn't my thing. Fine, just replace the beige with another color, and then it's all decided already. So just that's a great way to try or to personalize builds that you download, which is something I often do. So I go with like this dark chocolate or black. It's kind of hard to tell and I can't quite remember. I want to say it was like a dark chocolate color. And then just a beige on top for the build. And definitely kind of yeah, so I'm getting ready to add a fence here on the sides, and which I do eventually replace with a half wall that I really, really, really love the way it turned out. This is one of the coolest things that they added on in the Dine Out Stuff Pack, which was kind of an unexpected surprise, that they added a couple of features like architectural things, where you can add a little fence to the top of a half wall, which makes sectioning off restaurant builds really great, but it also makes a really awesome like detail for houses. And with modern houses, roofing, usually it's just sort of just like a flat roof. Most of the builds that I see have flat roofs. So if you're doing a flat roof, then it's really awesome to be able to have that fence detail, which I think I'm getting ready to, yeah, throwing right here. I really like the way that looks, and probably going to be using that a lot now just because it's new, and you get a new toy, you want to play with it for a while. So that is definitely something that I've been using lately a lot in my builds. I really like it. Columns, not so much. Just kind of added a couple pieces here and there to make it look like there was some sort of structure, that there's something holding up these random jutting out portions of the build. And this upper deck patio thing goes through a few variations, and actually does wind up different. And in my uploaded version of the build, I will film the build and I'll get to a place where I'm like, okay, I'm done. Then I will jump into the game and start taking screenshots, and I will play test it with the sim. And then as I play test it with the sim, I notice bits and pieces that I want to change, or changes that I want to make in general. So, what you're going to get from the gallery is, and it is up on the gallery, by the way, there's a link, download, in the description below. I'll make sure to include that so you can have this in your game if you so choose. But yeah, you're going to get something just slightly different from what's in the video. I mean, it's not going to be totally different, so don't be like, oh no, I'm super bummed because it's not what I wanted. I mean, it's not that different, but I will make just changes that, no, this doesn't go here very well, or this doesn't really make sense for simming. So that's how I do. I really love those little floor tiles that came with, I believe, Get Together. I was trying to use them in the bathroom here. This is the upstairs bathroom, of course. but that wasn't the right size. But I do wind up using them in the build, and you'll see that a bit later. I love the way it turned out, how I did wind up using them. If I do say so myself, it's really cute. It's cute. So, toilet, gotta have that. Uh, and I always make sure to include the toilet paper roll because you don't want your Sims walking around with stinky butts because gross. Um, yeah, so the upper floor here is like sort of a kitchen dining room combo. This is only a one bedroom, so it's really a great house if you have one sim, if you're the kind of person who just likes to have one sim. So there's lots of room for activities for your one sim, but just the one bed. It's a double bed though, so they can have sleepovers and whatnot. So yeah, this is going to be the living room here, and in the corner I'm about to add a computer area. That does totally work. That's one of my favorite cool things about The Sims 4 is that you can use a computer on a counter with a stool instead of just necessarily a desk with a computer chair. So you can kind of make cute little computer nooks that way. You don't have to put it in a full desk area, and I love that. Um, Working on the color palette here, I kind of went with a mostly like, I don't want to say neutral because it's not really fair to say neutral, but it's a very like red, white, and blue, very unassuming rug. You can always change it to a gray if you want. And this is the kitchen, and I also love the way the kitchen turned out, so I'm talking a lot about how much I love the way this build turned out, but I do like the layout of the kitchen very well, the way it turns out in the final build. Not a huge kitchen, not a ton of space, and I didn't in the video include the dishwasher, but I do include that in the final build. That's one of those things where you just gotta go in and play test it and see how it's gonna work out, and you're like, oh yeah, I left this out, or my Sim's gonna need this. I try to like even play like a day or two as a Sim in the house just to really make sure that it's it's a good build, it's a good house to sim in, because that's what's most important. I mean, it's really fun to build and everything, but if you're sharing a build, you want it to work well. So, of course, adding a trash can, very important. I hate the way that refrigerators don't quite meet the counters. That's very sad. I didn't put a sink in, which, I mean, you don't really need actually if you have a dishwasher, but if you want it to look realistic, you could always put the dishwasher in the counter island area. I didn't do it because it's so small and the dishwasher's there. Oh wait, the dishwasher is in the build. I lied. I hate it when I catch myself in a lie. I'll be darned. Okay, so yeah, I tried to use this wood sign thing to maybe do something, and then I was like, nah. Again, this doesn't turn out, this like little patio area, not what it looks like in the final uploaded version on the gallery. I did put an easel in the corner instead, and you'll later see why, because I do wind up making a special area for like grilling and hanging out. So it's actually a lot of extra space for you to put your own things in when you sim. I also changed that rug because it looked kind of green, which I didn't realize until I got in and started playing. I was like, green doesn't go, so let's change that. In tables, I don't usually bother with them. This time around I wanted to, and why doesn't the game have any end tables that like are the same size as the couch? Like the end tables are huge compared to the couch, so I kind of made the ones that were the right size kind of slide into the sides of the couch and make it kind of look like it was like all one piece or something. And into the downstairs, so this is going to be, now you can change it and make it 2 bedrooms if you want. I, instead of doing 2 bedrooms, did a bedroom, bathroom, and a home gym. So this is the home gym that we're building, and I put a hot tub in it because hot tubs are wonderful. And just lighting things up now. Making sure that the hallways and everything are painted. So I definitely really enjoyed making this build. Again, like I said, modern doesn't really come easily to me, but I liked the way it turned out. I think it looks really cool in the end. And oh, just making those windows. I like to if I do something cool with the windows, I like to repeat that at least somewhere in the house so it makes it look like it was intentional. Throwing in a punching bag, which I love watching Sims use the punching bag, and a weightlifting machine. I almost forgot what it was called, and a treadmill. I do like the way that the bedroom turned out as well. I did just sort of like a simple white soft bedroom with like a little bit of like a soft aqua or blue color kind of go along with the doors in the build. I also love that plant from Dine Out. That little palm plant looks awesome. I'm going to add in a get together closet because it's a wonderful thing. It's like a super useful item for your house. So, you can woohoo in it. Your kids can play in it. I don't know, it's just cool. I love that item. I hate it when I forget to put one in or make room for one in a build, and later I'm like, oh no, room for a closet. Oh, sad. So, I mean, of course you can always put in a bush or something, but no, I love the closet. I think it's awesome. A really cool item for the game. I really like that artwork too. I thought it really went well with that bedspread. And by the way, can I just take a second and say, why aren't there more beds in the game yet? Like, seriously, we haven't gotten a new bed since, like, what, Outdoor Retreat? And it's something that we really, really need. So, Sim Gurus, if you happen to be listening, which I doubt, but still, please, more beds, please. So, please. Adding in a stairs, or a step there, which I almost forgot. It's kind of important that your Sim be able to actually, get into the house. So, yeah. Sorry that I'm a little bit raspy today. I don't know what's going on with my throat. I hope I'm not getting sick. That would be really sad. Because I was actually already sick this year, which I know, like this year, like you get once per year to be sick, but that is my rule. I really think that like no person should have to be sick more than once in a year. So I had bronchitis earlier this year, and it was horrible. It was like some like the sickest I've ever felt in my life. It was awful. It lasted for like 2-3 weeks. It was just miserable. So I better not be getting sick because then I'll be very, very, very. I'll just be over my quota for sickness for 2016, and that's unacceptable. Unacceptable. Didn't wanted to kind of use the little shower caddy item. I kind of forget that that's in the game, so I wanted to make sure that I use that this time around. Moving into the back and along the sides, so I started to do my landscaping now with modern. I like to keep the landscaping a little bit more clean than I do with like my traditional houses. And oh, by the way, I believe there is this pause in the game because like around this point when I started to do the landscaping because there was a Pokemon in the apartment that I needed to catch. I can't remember what Pokemon it was. It was a good one though, and I had to stop and catch it. It's gonna be here in a few minutes when I'm adding in the hedges. And I also combined these two little trees. I don't know what made me do it, but I kind of like the way it looked. So I moved. Oh, here we go. So this is, I used the, very square manicured hedge so that, it wouldn't take away from, the clean lines of the modern build. yeah, so yeah, about here. Yep, this is where I was like, there's a Pokemon and I need to get it. That's one I gotta get. Can't miss, gotta catch them all. No, just kidding. I've been playing Pokemon Go, but since the last couple updates, I'm kind of mad at it. I'm kind of unhappy with the game. Like there's no tracking system, and I had been using Pokevision.com. So sorry for people who don't play Pokemon and are starting to like get annoyed with with this conversation. I promise to make it short. But for those of you who are, I was using Pokevision to kind of like track down my Pokemon, and Niantic, like, they shut that site down and then took any sort of a tracking system to find the Pokemon out of the game. So it's really annoying because like not everybody has all day to go roaming around the neighborhood uh, looking for Pokemon, and then not everybody lives in like the kind of neighborhood that you necessarily want to roam around for a really long time. I know there are certain portions of my neighborhood that are a little bit rough, and I necessarily wouldn't want to go walking around in them, especially at nighttime. Especially not with my nose buried in my phone, clearly trying to find Pokemon. That's just like a might as well be wearing a sign that says like rob me, mug me, attack me. So anyway, that's my little tiny rant on Pokemon for right now. Um, yeah, so while I was talking about Pokemon, I started building a little backyard area that I wasn't planning to go into the build. I was just going to do like a little bit of landscaping and then call it a day. And so I don't know what made me go, you know what? No, we're gonna build a pool and a bar and a grill area. So that bar is about in a couple seconds going to go down to the bottom floor onto the porch. Yep. And so I love this little like outside um, bar and grill and chill spot um, where your Sims can like swim, and I think I had a diving board too, if I haven't already. Love a nice little bar, and I also put one of the wind chimes from Backyard Stuff out here. Um, I love the little ambient sounds that they create. So this is where I was talking about earlier using the flower tiles. This is where I do wind up using them at the bottom of the pool. And I really like the way it does turn out. I think it was a super cute idea on my part, if I do say so myself. And I will probably use this again because, yeah, I just put pool lights in the center to make little flowers in the pool. Oh, it's so cute. Adding in a pool ladder so your Sims don't wish for them every 10 seconds, and then, uh, what are those? Like a diving platform. That's what it's called. And then I moved the hedges back just a little bit around that so that I didn't know whether or not your Sim was going to complain that they couldn't get back there. So just adding in little flat square of, I don't know, I think it's Mulva or something like that in the game. But it just is a nice thing to kind of like line your flower beds and hedges just to make it look more manicured. Oh gosh, oh yes, and here is where I start trying to make the exterior lights work, and gotta tell you, it was a struggle. I really like the way that these lights looked, but they don't, and it's hard to see in the video, but when you like shove them into each other, they glitch like crazy. So then I tried these flat strips from Spa Day, and they did not look so bad at night, but when I turned it on to daytime, they look like hot garbage. So didn't stick with those. I did just wind up eventually using the little bitty wall lights from Spa Day, and I think they wind up looking okay. It's definitely one of those things where you probably either like it or hate it. But yeah, these are the little, uh, I don't know what they're called, just little bitty accent lights from Spa Day, and I like them because I feel like they add a little bit of texture to the exterior of the build. And I like them personally, but if you don't like them, you know, just nix them. That's cool. But yeah, I thought they were alright. And then, yeah, so here's where I struggled a bit with figuring out just what to do with that space. I didn't like the mailbox and the trash can just sitting out front. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't put my mailbox out front where things are supposed to look nice. So I shoved them in behind that little wall there that's still really accessible. Your mailman or mailwoman sim should not yell at you because they can't get to your mailbox because they are very picky about that. Your mail people, your mail sims. Um, so they shouldn't have any problem getting to it. And then I went ahead and just hedged around the front of the house, which also creates some privacy for that bathtub, which I did wind up putting right in front of a window. So if your Sims are shy, don't worry, there's a hedge. Nobody's going to see. It's okay. And if your Sims are exhibitionists, then just trim the hedges down. Those good times for everybody. So flowers, just wanted to add a little extra color because it is pretty beige. And I did kind of design this house with Oasis Springs in mind. That's where it is. Obviously, it's on the lot called Dusty Turf. You can see that. But that's where it does wind up, and I feel like that's where it should go. So, getting ready to jump into the screenshots any second. Here we go. That's the front of the house, and you can see my sim taking out her garbage. Getting ready to go to the backyard. Yes, so love the way. Gosh, Sims 4 pools look awesome. There's my sim enjoying some food, some grilled fruits. And the kitchen, again, love, love, love the kitchen. A shot of the living room looking into the kitchen and out the front window. The downstairs gym. The bedroom here. And then the back exterior of the build coming up now. So thank you for watching. Please stick around for more videos in the future and have a wonderful day.